Welcome to the ZMY Begin class. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad I'm here. So you have arrived. Just take a few deep breaths. And just lying in regular Shavasana, if that's comfortable for you, do that. Otherwise, you can bend the knees, let the knees hang together. Pay attention to your breath. Don't try to force it into a way you think it should be right now. Just let it come and go. See what the rhythm is. See what you've brought to the mat this morning without attaching any judgment. We're going to talk a little bit about the fruits of our labor. So our job in yoga is to just be willing to come to the mat, to see what happens there, and anything after that is not up to us. So we make the effort, we show up, we do the best that we can. And then the fruits of that are just left to the universe or whatever. It's out of our control. And if you're focused on just getting that end result, which never arrives, by the way, then we're missing something when it comes to yoga. Our job right now is to just be present and where we are right now in our practice. So I want you to kind of watch that while you're on your mat today. Just do the pose the way that your body's doing the pose today. I'll give you the best guidance I can. You'll hear things. I mean, we're all speaking the same language, but even when we're using words that we all understand, we hear things differently, right? The communication thing is always so interesting to me. We hear things when we're supposed to hear them and how we're supposed to hear them. See if you can bring your breath to be even. Just inhale, exhale. Nice, smooth, slow, deep breaths. No restrictions, no control, just in and out. If this is the only time today that you pay attention to your breath, you're doing something still pretty darn amazing for yourself. If your knees are bent, go ahead and slowly straighten them. And then bring the arms overhead and take a long stretch. Good. Keep your arms overhead because we're going to do a crescent stretch here. So take your right ankle to the right corner of the mat and then take the left ankle and cross it over. So both of your feet are stacked on the right corner of your mat. And then grab your left wrist. And we're just going to come into this angle leaning to the right. So just a crescent shape on our mat, stretching and opening the left side of the body. Feeling the body taking in oxygen, an abundance of oxygen, feeling that spaciousness. And then go ahead and release, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So bring that left foot all the way to the corner and then cross it over. Grab the right wrist and lean to the left. You can notice any differences on this side. Whatever sensations you're having is going to help you stay in the present moment. But when you feel that tightness in the hips or shoulders or whatever, you know, be grateful that your body is showing you those things. Just don't attach any negativity to that. You're just here to explore. Go ahead and release, come back to center. You can bring the arms down. We're gonna take the right knee, bend the right knee so it's up towards the ceiling, and the heel is gonna come as close to the body as you can. And then go ahead and drop the knee out to the right. So your foot is now at the inner thigh of the opposite leg. And just let this knee hang open the best you can. If you need to put a block or something underneath it, you can do that. And just keep your hands on the abdominal area and continue to breathe. We are going to keep the left leg active. So if you could keep the left leg active, toes up towards the ceiling, that will help open the right hip. On your next exhale, you're going to carefully and slowly bring the knee back up towards the ceiling and then hug the knee towards the body. So hugging the knee towards the body, just get it as close as you can. And then go ahead and bring the knee off the left side of the mat. So we're coming into a twist. Do what your back can do here. You don't have to bring that knee all the way to the floor. Just bring it, you know, if your hips are stacked, that's good. You can support the top leg with your left hand, and then the right arm can extend out to the side. And then exhale, come back to center, straighten that leg. Foot to the floor, straighten it out, bend the left knee up towards the ceiling, and then drop the knee out to the left. You can keep your hands on the belly this time or extend like you would in tree pose if your arms need a stretch. But if they start to get tingly or anything like that, just bring them back down. The right leg is going to stay active. So toes up towards the ceiling. And just stay with that even breath. The Samavriti is what we call it. On your next exhale, bring the left knee back up towards the ceiling for the foot to be flat on the mat, and then hug the knee towards the body with both the hands. Good. Bring the knee off the right side of the mat. So you can use the right hand. I'm sorry. Yeah, use the right hand to take the knee, and then the left arm can extend out to the side. Just the opposite of what we were doing on the other side. Notice what's going on with the muscles in your face, your tongue. Can we soften those things? Can you soften the lower back and the belly? And then go ahead and come back to center, bring that foot down. We're gonna hug both knees up towards the body. So grab both knees one at a time, and then rock left to right. Draw circles on the ceiling with your knees to rotate the hips just a little bit more, especially after that twist. Go in both directions. And then go ahead and come to a stop and bring your foot or both of your feet down to the mat. Christy, do you have a strap? You have a strap, right? Okay, let's everybody grab our straps. And we're not done yet being on our back. So the left leg will stay straight. We're gonna take that strap and wrap it around the ball of the right foot and grab both straps with the right hand, okay? Reach up as far up on that strap as you can, as close to the foot as you can. That can still be comfortable for you. The left leg can stay straight unless you're feeling a pull in the back of the knee, then you can bend that left knee. But for now, we're just gonna let the shoulders sink towards the floor. We're still keeping that left leg active and we're pressing the right foot up towards the ceiling, like you're kind of pressing the heel up towards the ceiling. And we're gonna take a few breaths here. Start to get into the hamstrings. Notice where you feel it. You have well, technically you have 3 hamstrings in the back of the leg, but one of them splits off. So some people say you have 4 hamstrings in the back of the leg. So if you're feeling a stretch, maybe more towards the right, that could be one that you feel tighter in, or towards the left, whatever. You can keep your left hand on top of your left thigh if you need a place to put your hand. And now we're gonna take this out to the side, but we're only gonna be here for a breath or two. Try to use the muscles in the legs to keep it safe, okay? So exhale, bring the right leg out to the right. Use the strap for support, but not as a crutch. Once your left hip starts lifting, then just go ahead and stop. And again, you can kick a block under that leg or support it in that way. Come back to center. Switch your hands on the strap. So left hand grabs the straps, the right arm extends out to the side. We keep the right hip on the mat and we send this leg straight over the center line. Good. Keep breathing. And then go ahead and come back to center. We're gonna take the strap off the foot and let the foot and the leg come down. Yeah, that's a lot of work keeping the leg up there for that long, even when you have a strap, isn't it? Everybody's chill right now, so. Other side, bring the strap around the left foot. Everyone's like, we're not talking right now. Yes. Okay, so right hand can go on top of the right thigh just to have, that's really just to remind you to keep that leg active. And then heel up towards the ceiling. Want to stretch those hamstrings. As long as you're not feeling a stretch right behind the knee, we're good. And then do your even breath here. Just slow, deep, even breaths. On your next exhale, open that leg out to the left. Keep your right hand pressing down on your right thigh. Try to imagine your hip socket, which it really is. It's separate from the rest of the movement of your pelvis. Let it release a little bit. It's a ball and socket joint. Let it soften. Inhale, come back to center. Switch hands for the strap. And you don't want to grip the strap too much. You'll start to feel it in your fingers. Extend the left arm out to the left. And then cross over that center line until you feel it stretch out on the outside of the leg, the IT band, the tensor fasciae latae muscle. Tensor fasciae latae? I know. Doesn't it make you want a fancy coffee? The TFL would be better. Go ahead, come back to center and release. Put your strap off to the side. You can take one more stretch and then we're gonna bend the knees and roll onto our sides. Go ahead and push yourself up. I trick you guys into thinking you're gonna rest, and then it's just making you come up safely. All right, so legs are crossed. Let's take some more breaths. Inhale, bring the arms up. Palms together, exhale, hands in front of the heart. 2 more times. Exhale. Try to move with the breath here. Inhale up. Exhale. Good. Left hand to right knee. Support yourself with your right hand. Inhale, get tall. And then exhale, revolve. If your hand doesn't go flat on the floor, don't bend your fingers like this. Either come a little bit closer. Don't be shy. Do you guys remember that commercial, Air It Extra Dry? Oh my gosh. Hello, 80s kid. All right. So, or you can put a block underneath your hand. Keep pressing that right shoulder back, not to the point where you're forcing anything, but just so you can feel how the upper body does the revolving. We're not twisting from the lower back. We're going to take one more breath here. Be sure the tongue is relaxed, the jaw is softened. And then exhale, come back to center. I want you guys to play with that, and the next round, the other side, right hand to left knee. So get into your twist, get tall, revolve. And now soften the muscles in the face, soften the tongue, and soften the jaw. See if that allows you to revolve that right shoulder back a little bit more, give you some more space. Good. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. And the belly can be soft here. Sometimes that will give you more room in the spine. Go ahead and release. Good. Bring your feet out in front of you. Shake the knees out a little bit. Yeah, that was really weird because, I mean, jingles are that powerful, right? I mean, in the 80s, that's what kids did. They watched a ton of TV, right? I'm not the only one, but all of those cheesy commercials, like I'm thinking of the Double Mint gum where it was always the twins. I love that I have no commercials because around Christmas time, my kids never ask me for anything they see on TV either. All right, we're gonna bend the right knee, bring it out to the side. So we're coming into our head on knee pose, but don't let that fool you. We're not putting our head on our knee today, all right? Unless you're feeling really frisky, you can do that. Put your strap around your foot. You can always ditch it later. Those are the workers. Yeah. So inhale, lengthen. Grab your straps, one with each hand, and then you're gonna exhale, keep your back straight and pull the elbows back. So chin towards the shin. And that way it keeps our neck nice and long and neutral. And then we're gonna pay attention to the inner edges of the shoulder blades. We want those to be strong. Draw them towards each other, shoulders away from the ears. Good. See what happens when you press the right foot into the left thigh. See if that helps you engage more to fold forward even a little bit more. Yeah, Amber, you went down like 3 more inches. Now the bandhas, lift the pelvic floor, zip up the abdominals. See what that does. Amber, you can let go of the strap and just grab your foot. Robin, you have your foot. Yeah, if you feel like you're right there at your foot, go ahead and grab it. And take one more breath here. You can come closer. I know you can. To your foot. Yeah. Your alignment is good. You can. All right, we're going to take one more breath here. And then inhale, just look up. And then exhale, release out of the pose. Hello, hamstrings. Other side. We were talking about that in one of the classes this morning. Have you ever just, if your hamstrings are really tight, they get sore if you stretch them for a class, you feel them. I mean, in yoga, you're strengthening your hamstrings too, but just stretching them when they're not that stretchy, it's a process. All right, so left foot to the inner thigh for the other side. Have your strap, inhale, lengthen, and then exhale, lead with your heart. I always hated that expression in yoga classes, honestly, because forward folds are so difficult for me. It is, if you can just lead maybe your belly towards your thigh, and then just make sure your heart is coming forward to be sure that the shoulders stay back. That's the most important thing. I'm not against love or hearts or anything. And that right leg being active is going to help you. So keep pressing it into the ground. Keep your shoulders away from the ears. And maybe press that left foot into the right thigh. The more active you are, the more your body will fold. And Amber, the next step for you when you're ready is to flip that hand out and grab, okay? Because you're very close. Your elbows are starting to bend. We're going to take another breath or two here. Yeah. Inhale, look up, exhale, release. So if you have dry skin, you're going to feel it in yoga class, especially when you're doing these types of stretches with the backs. Yeah, or to straighten your hair in the back. Back scratchers. Jessie is in Kentucky, so she has nice like moisture weather there. We're basically our skin just like peels off a couple times a year. Mine is just getting used to it for the first time. All right, let's go to hands and knees. We're gonna come in a child's pose first. So big toes together, knees apart, sit back on your heels. If you need to take a modification here for the knees, come forward onto your forearms and still drop the head. Yes. And let this be a resting pose for you. Let this be a reminder that you, well, not you, but we, as we come to the mat, we surrender to the practice. So we do some poses, we get into like the physical parts, and now we need to come back and have this little reminder of our intention to let go of the fruits of our labor. We're just continuing the effort. See if you can allow the spine to just sink a little bit more into the back. Another breath or two here. And when you're ready, press the palms for support, lift the head, and bring yourself to hands and knees. So knees come under the hips, you walk the hands back. We're gonna actually play with the idea of really letting go here, okay? It's not gonna seem like a lot. Some of you are gonna get like a full chiropractor adjustment here. I exaggerate, but you might get a little bit of popping in the spine. Make sure your hands are in front of the shoulders because we're gonna be here for a couple of minutes. Tops of the feet are flat on the mat. We're gonna do Betalasana or cat pose, but we're gonna stay here for a good 3-4 breaths. So lift the tailbone and lift the chin. And I want you to bring hyper focus to the spine. Lower spine, middle of the spine, and upper spine. Not so much the neck. And I want you to release all the muscles around the spine. And so even though you are releasing and you feel like you've probably gone to your max, see if you can let the spine sink a little bit deeper. Let the belly just hang towards the mat. Let everything go in the middle of the body, in the torso. And on your next exhale, push and arch the back. So drop the head. We're going to stay here for 3 or 4 breaths. Drop the head completely. Let the neck just kind of dangle. And at the same time, you're really separating the shoulder blades. You're pressing the navel towards the back of the body, pressing the thighs towards the face. And now go ahead and continue at a regular breathing pace. So inhale, drop the belly. And then exhale, come back to the arch. Inhale, drop the belly. And go back and forth. So even if you didn't feel too much moving around when we were being still, maybe now that you're moving the spine, you'll get a little bit more mobility. And if not, who the heck cares? You're moving your spine. You're still doing good things for your back here. Trust me, so much good. This is not a movement we bring into our everyday. You're only going to do this in yoga class, not even at physical therapy or gym class, you know? I don't think. Who knows? I don't do either of those jobs. Let's do a couple more rounds. Funny story, I'll tell you in a second when we come back to a neutral spine. Okay, if you want to move the shoulders a little bit, go ahead and do that, and then just end up being with a flat back. We're gonna thread the needle here for our shoulders, but funny story really quick. Actually, when I first was going to college as an adult, I was going to be for a gym teacher. Yeah. That's it. If that's not funny. All right, bring your left hand to the center of the mat. Inhale, bring the right fingertips up, and then exhale, slide through. Let the head rest. Reach with the right fingertips. And really get a feel for this in your shoulder socket, your right shoulder. Remember, there's different things you can do with your left arm. You can have it at a 90-degree angle, pressing into the floor. You can drop the arm behind the back just to feel more weight and go into the twist a little bit more, but your neck has to be strong here, okay? Or you can bring your left arm up and over the top of your mat. Yeah. I want you to notice what you are doing with your neck here. If the right side of the neck is bowing out and overstretching, just press your head into the mat a little bit to try to make the neck neutral. And we'll take another breath here. And exhale, come back to hands and knees. And we'll do the other side. So right hand to the center, get a nice counter twist here. Inhale as far up as you can. And then exhale, slide it under. Reach the left fingertips as far as you can. What am I saying? That's funny. The gym story? Oh, mixing up the right and left? That's okay. Yeah. Well, I was one of those kids who didn't know I really had no idea what I wanted to be when I was grown up, even through high school. Actually, until I was like 30. I only thought I wanted to be a gym teacher. Yes, I'm not too far off the mark though, you know. You guys should just start calling me coach. Inhale, come up. I'm kidding, don't do that. All right, come. Let's curl the toes under, lift the hips up and back, and then pedal the feet. really press the heels into the mat. Just try to lengthen the back of the legs. Obviously, that's not the purpose of a down dog. Purpose of a down dog is to lengthen the spine, but we can move here however we want. And then when you're done with your stretching of the back of the legs, just come to stillness. Lengthen through the tailbone, push the floor away from you. And then separate the feet to the edges of the mat. We're gonna do this a little bit backwards, walking the hands towards the feet. Bend your knees as much as you need to here. Remember the belly to the thighs thing. And if we're acting like we're ripping the mat apart, then we're protecting our sitting bones. You'll feel the sitting bones lift. Grab opposite elbows, drop the head, and sway a little bit left to right. Good. And then we're gonna bring the hands back down to the mat, just fingertips is fine. And we're gonna start to come up slowly. So hands to the shins, start to lift the body. So I don't, look at my knees really quick here. Okay, does it look like I'm hyperextending my legs? Like I'm locking out my knees. I don't wanna do that because then nothing is protecting my hamstring attachments. Bend the knees a little bit still. Bring your hands to your thighs, keep a flat back. Bend the knees slightly, inhale, come all the way up. Bring your palms together. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. And then we'll walk to the front of the mat in mountain pose or Tadasana. And just take a moment here. You wanna put a hand on the heart, a hand on the belly. Let's check in with the breath and make sure we're staying with that Samavriti, that even breath. Just inhale and exhale. Make sure your feet are in Tadasana. You have Tadasana legs. If you feel comfortable closing the eyes here, you can, but you can also just gaze at the floor. The focus is really important. Even if our mind is wandering, if we're staring at that focus point, it still sends our brain a message. And when our body is still, it still sends our brain a message. We're so distracted all the time, or there's opportunities for us to be distracted a lot. When you're inhaling, be sure that you're breathing into the hand of the belly and also the chest, that both parts of the body are moving. Not equally, the lungs are bigger, but that both parts are active in this breathing process. And then go ahead, if your eyes are closed, blink the eyes open. Open. There's no D at the end of that. Opened. Release the arms. Inhale, bring the arms up. Palms together, exhale, hands in front of the heart. 2 more times. Full inhale. And exhale. 1 more time. Keep the hands up, grab the left wrist, exhale, lean to the right. Kind of like the thing we did lying down. Keep your Tadasana legs though. Inhale, come back to center, grab your right wrist. Exhale, lean to the left. Back to center, bring the hands down. Come to the front of your mat. If you're not already, we're just gonna do 1 round of Sun Salutation A, okay? And we're gonna do it slow, and we're doing it in child's pose, not down dog for the 5 breaths. When my D's, sometimes you'll hear my D's as T's, and I think that's just like an accent thing. Like my own son has a D at the end of his name, but I call him like Roland. Roland. I actually talk kind of funny. Inhale, arms up. Chicago. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees if you need to. Drop the head. Inhale, lift the head and come to a halfway point where your back is flat. If you need to bring the hands to the shins, you can. And then exhale, step back. Use your knees if you need to for chaturanga. Bring the elbows straight back, all the way to the floor. Inhale, lift to a cobra. And then exhale back to child's pose. Take any support you need here, especially for the forehead. We want the neck muscles to completely relax. And if it's an option for you, if you want to grab the bottoms of the feet or towards that direction, you can do that. 1, deep breaths. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Bring your hands back to the mat if they weren't there. Inhale, lift the head. Exhale, come to hands and knees. Curl the toes under in that same exhale and try to come back to downward facing dog. Inhale, look up and just step forward. One more fold here as you exhale. And then inhale, bring the arms all the way up. Palms together, exhale, hands in front of the heart. Okay, so we're gonna do our balancing pose, and then we're actually just gonna go right back down to the mat, okay? 2 options for our tree pose today. You're just gonna do regular tree, you know, toes on the floor, toes here, or foot here. Foot does not go here unless you can keep your knee above your pelvis, okay? Otherwise, we're trying to get muscular strength here first. And also no foot on the knee. That's really important. The other option is you can just come to a figure 4, yeah? Or you can see how your hip is here, okay? Either way, we're standing on one leg today. So you decide what you wanna do. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Use the wall. Use the wall, okay? All right, let's do it. Balancing on your left leg first. Decide what you wanna do with this right leg. You have so many options today. And then your hands can be in front of your heart. They can be up here. You can even start to move them if you want. Keep your eyes on the focus point. Just figure out where you want to be today. Lift the bandhas, pelvic floor, abdominals. So the right hip is not jutting out. It's in and up. Good. And don't do the pose with your tongue. Release it. One more. Go ahead and bring the right knee pointing forward. Straighten the leg and come back to mountain pose. I can't even. So Kate started laughing at herself because she kept like bending back and forth, you know, starting to lose it, but you didn't. You didn't. Other side. Just go for it. Find your tree on your other side. And Robin and Jesse, if you guys want to try that, your knee does go above your pelvis. Trust me. If you want to try the half lotus, don't be scared. Just try it. I know what you guys are capable of. And if it doesn't feel right, just let it go. Yep. And breathe. Nice. Try to take a few more breaths here. You got it. And then point the left knee forward, extend the leg, just another opportunity to get it stronger and come back to mountain pose. Good. How was that? Groovy. All right, let's just go ahead and have a seat. We're not doing any fancy move to come to the floor. Just lie down on your back. Rock the knees left to right. We're gonna do one more thing with the breath and the movement in our bridge pose, okay? Just do the best you can here. I think you guys will all be fine with it. Bring the knees to stillness, and we're gonna prepare for bridge pose. So heels come as close to the body as you can get them. Shoulder blades are flat. It's important that the inner edges of the feet and the heels are really pressing here because they have a tendency to want to lift when we come into bridge. An option, a modified option for this bridge pose will be just to put a block underneath the pelvis. You're still in a back bend here. But what we're going to do is lift the arms on an inhale. And then on an exhale, we're going to try to evenly lower everything to the ground. Okay? So we're going to do that like 4 or 5 times. All right, so once you're ready, press the feet, inhale, lift, arms up. Hands touch the ground when you're done with your inhale. And then exhale, everything touches the floor at the same time. So nice and slow. Again, inhale, nice and slow. And exhale, nice and slow. Good, everyone's keeping their feet nice and pressed. Continue. Yep, and your feet can be hip width apart, that works. One more round. Inhale. And exhale. Good. All right, so everyone take one of their blocks. We don't always have a wall accessible to us all the time. So instead of doing legs up the wall, we're just gonna put the brick or the block underneath our sacrum. And then we're gonna lift the legs. So right leg up, left leg up. Keep the legs together. And then we want a 90-degree angle here as much as possible. You can use your hands to grab onto the block for support. This does take some effort, but just breathe through it. Breathe through the sensations that are going to start to happen in your legs. Or maybe the abdominals that have to work a little bit here. Try to keep the muscles in the face soft and the tongue and shoulders all soft. The feet don't necessarily have to be active. Just try to keep them, you know, in between totally relaxed and active, I guess. I mean, your legs do have to stay up. We're going to be here for 5 more breaths. And on that 5th exhale, 1 foot at a time comes down. So slowly and mindfully bring the right foot down and the other. Good. Stay here for a moment. Lift the pelvis, remove the block, and slowly lower down to the mats. Good. Bring the knees up towards the chest. Rock a little bit left to right. And as you're rocking, be sure now, because you were in a back, you had support, your back was lifted, be sure that the lower back is flat on the mat. Yeah, circle your ankles and stuff. You want to move your ankles around, move them around. Bring your feet back down to the mat. All right, so we're going to do one last twist here, and then you guys made it. You ready? All right, hips go to the right. Just shift your hips to the right side of the mat and drop your knees to the left. So hips go one direction, knees go in the other, just to try to get a full spinal twist here. Extend the arms straight out or bend at the elbows. Have bent elbows here. Depends on how open your pectoral muscles are. If you're not feeling a stretch in your arms with them extended, I definitely want you to bend your elbows. And just keep that right shoulder heavy towards the mat and breathe. This is where we say something nice to ourselves. On your next exhale, bring the knees back up towards the ceiling, shift your hips back to center, and now bring the hips to the left, knees to the right. Same thing with the arms. It looks like you're all touching the floor, so just bend your elbows. Or keep them straight. Yeah. Take another breath or two here. And then knees back up towards the ceiling. Hips towards the back to center. Straighten the legs. Bring the arms overhead. Stretch. Bring everything back into balance. And then from here, we'll go into our Shavasana. So get as comfortable and cozy as possible. In our other two classes this morning, we've been exploring chanting just because our level 2 class, that's just what you do after time. You just start doing other things. So for the end of this class, for our nice vibrations, we'll do the singing bowl. So I don't want anyone to be alarmed. We won't focus on it until the end. And if you need help covering up, I'll help you. Take some deep breaths. Each time you exhale, feel the bones settling to the back of the body. Feel the muscles starting to soften away from the bones. Feel your mind letting go and allowing you to release. Just release the body into the floor. Coming back to the even breath, the Samavriti. Just breathing in and breathing out until the breath finds its own natural rhythm that it's happy with. No forcing, no controlling. Just letting yourself absolutely let go here. Bring your awareness back to your breath. And allow your inhalations to begin to deepen. Slowly wiggle the fingers and the toes, gently waking the body. And then keep the legs heavy as you bend them one at a time, nice and slow, mindful. And then you can roll onto your right side using your arm as a pillow and just pausing, continuing stillness. Take another breath or two here. And then begin to press yourself slowly back to a seated position. Bringing your hands together in front of your heart. Thank you for letting me guide you today. The teacher in me honors and appreciates the teacher in you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good day, Rob.